Hey everybody, it's Donovan from the Breakdown Show, and today's guest is Chris Bell. Chris Bell is known as a drummer. However, our buddy Wesonator says Chris can do it all. As a drummer, Chris credits include Big Country, Thompson Twins, Donovan, Plant Page, and many more. Chris is the part of the crew at the Chapel of Rock, a collection of badass musicians in England who are changing how the music industry records music. Check out the Chapel of Rock at chapelofrock.com. Hey, if you want to support the Break It Down Show, you can go to breakitdownshow.com and go to the PayPal link, put a little money in it, all the money goes straight back to the show. Also, you can buy our merch and you can subscribe to any podcast platform. If you want to support Save the Brave, go to savethebrave.org. We fight together PTSD. Alright, enough of me. Here comes Chris Bell.
Lions Rock Productions.
This is Jay
This
Moore.
is Greg Proops.
This is Jordan Harbinger.
This is Dexter from The Offspring.
This is Nathan
This is
East.
Sebastian Younger.
This is Rick
This
Marotta.
is Stuart Copeland.
This is Mick Gillette.
This is Andy Summers.
Hey, this is Skunk Baxter.
This is Gabby Reese.
This is Rob Bell.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
Hi, I'm Chris, and this is the Break It Down Show.
And now, the Break It Down Show with John Leon Guerrero and Pete A. Turner.
You know it is. That's right. We got Wes in the house, the Wesonator, and he's brought us a guy from the Chapel of Rock, which is Chris Bell, and he's played in incredible bands. I'm just going to go off the top of my head here with a couple of them. You played with the Thompson Twins. You played with Big Country. You played with Donovan. I mean, Gene Loves Jezebel. These are all bands that I grew up with and loved. I mean, Donovan's been around forever. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. You're welcome. Nice to do it.
So let me ask Wes. Wes, why do we have Chris Bell on the show? You're the guy that said, hey, we got to have Chris on the show. I always do what you say. So
well, Chris is one of my all-time favorite drummers, you know. So I met him through John Klein, who we had on the show not that long ago, and you know, we've been hanging out ever since, and you know, we've been working together in the studio. We've been working together live. Chris's other job is he's a kick-ass landscape gardener. So you know, we've done some gardening together as well. So yeah, Chris is my go-to drummer. That's why he's here.
what does that mean, though? Because I know your ear is very discerning. You always beat me up that my show sounds like crap and all that kind of thing. So when you say the go-to drummer, why? What is it about? You said he has the world's greatest sounding kit, and it's just the kit specifically. But what is it?
Oh, the kit. I mean, you know, we should really wait for John to join the show to talk about the kit. But I'm sure we can come back to it. It's this gorgeous looking, superb sounding old Gretsch kit, which just, I don't know. I haven't heard anything that sounds like it. It's just warm, punchy. It's loud as hell. And I just love recording it. You just point a mic at it and it sounds great. So, you know, and, you know, the other reason is, you know, I know you and John always talk about, you know, what's this thing about being in the pocket as a drummer?
Yeah.
Chris is a pocket drummer. He's got the pocket.
All right, Chris, this is a good place to say.
Nice intro.
Is in the pocket, and then all drummers say they're in the pocket. So what the fuck is not in the pocket?
No, just wandering around, not doing much. You know, I think in the pocket is just absolutely being respectful to the music, and probably less is more, and getting that part of you really going where you I would be a great I'm a great fan of Charlie Watts, Richie Hayward from Little Feat, and at the moment I've been really checking out Dave Gadsden from Bill Withers' drummer, who, you know, he doesn't even hit a cymbal going into the choruses, and it just flow. There's a flow, and that's really where I'm at with drumming is actually the groove rather than you know, trying to show off at all like that. I like just generally being the pulse. You know, that someone like Charlie Watts really does it fantastically well. You know.
Yeah, Charlie Watts.
Yeah, I remember going to see the Stones. It was in the Bay Area. I think it was in Oakland, and I think for the first 3 songs, Charlie Watts hadn't even done a fill, and when he did his fill, which was just a bung dung dung, the entire crowd just cheered. You know, it's that kind of approach which I really subscribe to. Yeah.
We saw a guy at NAMM. They were doing like the young artist features, you know, and they band in a shipping container with the window in it, and the drummer's in there. And the best move I've seen a drummer do in a long time was they're doing like this soulful R&B kind of number.
Yeah.
And the drummer goes to lean in to put something in, and then just grabs both his sticks and pulls back and just sits there and lets the singer, because it's all singer-driven music, right? And I thought, man, that is great drumming, because he'd put his sticks in his hand, because the song was winding down and it was about sex and everything else, and the climax happened in the song. So he just leaned back and did nothing, which was perfect.
I know, but it's what I love is in lockdown, there's been a lot of sort of there's a really good Canadian company called Drumeo. They've been doing really good like 5-minute slots with people. But my favorite kind of one on sort of Drumeo is the female drummers, because they have that approach. They're much better teachers than the men. You know, you'll have some Austrian guy going, here's to get your hand speed up, and so like this, and it doesn't mean much. Whereas the women tend to really break it down and make it really understandable and quite a lot of fun. So that's what I tend to go for in terms of that kind of online watching people and stuff like that. It's usually the women I pick, but it's nice to watch the women anyway. You know, it's great.
Wes, what do you think about that?
Oh, well, you know, it's always cool to I remember doing a couple of sessions where I didn't know who the drummer was going to be, and you know, sort of rock chick shows up as, wow. You give everybody a run for their money. It's amazing.
Of course. Yeah.
You know, which is wicked. You know, to me, it's like, you know, I know there's a big movement about, you know, always more women. And to me, it's more like, it doesn't matter. You know, we're all in it together. You know, so you know, it's always nice to see if and when it diversifies, it's awesome. It's always fantastic. Yeah.
You get to work for a band like Gene Loves Jezebel or Thompson Twins and all that kind of thing. Why are they picking you? I mean, people talk about Wes being a gunslinger and how what he does is incredible. Obviously, you've got the same thing, because Gene Loves Jezebel can hire whoever they want. Why are they hiring you?
I'd been in a couple of bands. They'd seen me play with the Thompson Twins. They'd seen me play with a band called Spear of Destiny as well. And I was sort of like, I was sort of, I think they just thought I was the right choice for that. And really in '86, when they got a deal with Geffen in the States, they needed someone who could do it. And I learned how to play big gigs pretty quick. You know, it's that kind of thing. It's you just fit the bill or you don't. You know, they've been through a bunch of drummers. I mean, going back to the Thompson Twins, it was very much I just auditioned, and I was 19 at the time. I just bailed out of art school, which everyone did. Everyone went to art school and bailed out. And this was 1980. They were about 27. I was 19. I was the kid. And they just thought, well, let's give them a go. And so I lasted two and a half years with that. And that was a great way to start, because it was really my university days. It was the equivalent of my university. And so I knew everyone. All my mates were at university all over Britain.
Right.
So wherever I went, was there were friends, and the Thompson Twins were kind of weird. They had sort of quite a few rules, you know, that they would, you know, we couldn't say certain things, we couldn't use certain terminology, and it was a vegetarian band, which was a disaster back in 1980. It was horrific, the vegetarian food. And so I called, like, Edinburgh up in Scotland, where I knew people, I called it Sausage City, because I'd just say, I'm coming up tomorrow, get the sausages on, you know, and I just like, that would be it. It would be, yeah, I'd get my meat hit, you know, by just staying with people, you know. It was, that was good. But it was a really good band as my first band, because it kind of got me to a level where I went into Spirit of Destiny and did Spirit of Destiny's first album. And that album got me more work than I ever had from any other sort of band in the 80s. That was the one that got me so much work. Yeah.
You said off mic that you've been on, I think it was 14 US tours, which was the big, and then what was the difference between a big gig drummer that you learned to become and just like a guy that goes on tour with Donovan who's playing state fairs?
I think with something like Gene Loves Jezebel, where there was one tour where it was Echo and the Bunnymen, New Order, and Gene Loves Jezebel opening up. So I learned how to do stadium rock well. You know, it was kind of, you know, which is different. I mean, a lot of people talk about playing to the room, you know, where, you know, but you kind of learned how to play with the ambience. You know, you'd actually find the sweet spot in a big gig where the track would sit, rather than, you know, just like plow away like a nutter, you know. And so I just learned, it was just by chance, you know, it was how to do it well, you know. That's what you're after. And Gene Loves Jezebel was great, because we used to do B-sides in Ocean Way. Do you know what I mean? It was like, we worked in the best studios and with the best producers at that particular time, you know, people like Jimmy Iovine and stuff like that. So it was like, that was a good patch. That was a good patch.
I want to ask two real quick questions. I'm going to stack them together. Then I'm going to let John, because John showed up. Okay, so first off, how do young guys like you, who you go get a gig with the Thompson Twins in the early 80s, holy shit, they're about to explode, and you're this baby who, you know, Don Henley might have got an F in music in college and left and was, you know, basically created the Eagles. But how do you, or Steve White, who gets, you know, into that style council gig and he's like 12 or something, he's so young. Yeah. How do you guys keep up with a pro musician, you know, like the Thompson Twins, who already have rules about being in the band, or Paul Weller, who's like done everything at this point? And then the other question is what era of Big Country did you play with Big Country? And then I'm going to let John talk, and I'm mostly going to shut up.
Sure. I think the thing with starting out like that was I watched every band that we were supporting. And one of the best bands ever that we supported was in Jury and the Blockheads, which again would have been much, much older. And I was just like by the monitors watching every single move. And you'd do that, and you'd just watch and watch and watch, and you'd learn. I learned completely on the road. I'd never taken a lesson. I missed punk, right? The first year of punk, 76, I completely missed, because I was playing along with headphones to vinyl to the Isley Brothers, Earth, Wind and Fire, Casey and the Sunshine Band, anything with a funky groove. And punk came along, and I was like, what the hell's that? Right. And I was still like just firmly in the funk thing, you know, Isaac Hayes, you name it. I was just there. I only got punk really in 77, you know. Yeah. And that was really that. In terms of Big Country, that was much later on. That was about 91. And Stuart, who that lovely guitarist, sadly no longer with us, he really liked it, because I just showed up with a 5-piece Gretsch with a Ludwig Black Beauty. And he said, are you going to use that for the tour? And I was like, yeah, that's what I use. Because Mark Brzezicki, the guy, had a 16-piece kit with gong drums and octobands and you name it. And they said, we'll send over the Luton to pick up your kit. And I said, no, I'll shove it in a taxi, you know. And I just turned up with this thing. And they were just like, this is so good. And I was rock out Chris for them, really. it was a different kind of tour, and it was great fun. I really, out of most people that I've worked with, that was one of the nicest bunch of people I ever came across. That was fun. I did about, I don't know, I probably did about a year with them. It was Mark Brzezicki, sort of uber drummer and everything. He always had a sort of bit of a ding dong with Stuart. They were kind of falling out, and then Mark would go and work with like Midge Ure to piss him off, you know, and it was kind of, you know, that kind of ding dong. So I became a sort of a debt, one of the debts that they used. Yeah.
But
things.
You're a completely different drummer to Mark. I mean, I've worked with both of you, you know, and you know, when we go in the studio, you set up your kit, I throw some mics at it, you listen to the song and you go, yeah, I know what the fuck I'm doing, bang, 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 and you groove away. As where Mark comes into the control room and listens to the track and writes a drum map in his head. I mean, it's probably safe to say he's more of a prog approach drummer, and you're more of a rock feel groove drummer.
Yeah.
You know,
I'd agree with that, but I'm in terms of the album that we did, Wes, with Raie, and you'll remember the takes we did. Where we're talking about milliseconds, but it was where the vocals sat, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was
Absolutely.
We were after where the vocals just sat down, and actually everything was the same tempo. It was click tracked, but it would be suddenly the vocals would sit and they had space.
Yeah,
and then we'd
absolutely.
we'd go, that's the take. So that was the approach, and I think. But for me, that's the approach that I have, and I'd be employed for that. I wouldn't be employed for a jazz session or a prog session. Do you know what I mean? I'm much more, give me Bill Withers.
Which brings us back to John's favorite topic, the pocket.
Oh
Pocket, man.
The pocket.
Yeah.
Everybody, John Guerrero has joined the fold.
Hey, you know what? This is the greatest fold because, you know, I love the groove drummers, man. I'm a groove drummer myself. I'm in a band called Uncommonwealth, which I'm going to shamelessly plug because we have a gig this weekend at the Black Star Pirate Barbecue at the San Pablo Marina. Come out and see us from 3 to 6. But you know, all my favorite drummers are the guys that, you know, that I'm sure that you were listening to and I was listening to too, Murata and Purdy and, you know, just the guys who just lay in the pocket and make everybody else look good. And you've made a career of it.
Yeah. I haven't really done anything else.
Well, you know, Wes says that you've got the best sounding kit he's ever recorded, and that's really saying something. What other tricks do you have up your sleeve in terms of putting it down for everybody?
Oh, what, in terms of kit?
Yeah, why does your kit sound so good?
It's just you get the overall picture from the entire kit. You don't get you know, it's not about the separation of things and you know, all the hoo-ha around it. Oh, you know, I can't play. I haven't got an 8-inch tom. Do you know what I mean? It's what you get. You know, it's the type of thing where you want the overall picture of the kit. And I like Wes often does the Glyn Johns mic technique of the 4 mics.
Yeah.
Which is
2 condensers. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And that. Actually, on the kit that I've got, which is a 78 Gretsch and Ludwig Black Beauty deep snare, the 6.5, that just works every single time. That 4 mic Glyn Johns technique, it gives an individuality to it, where you're not doing so much, but everyone goes, oh, that's Chris, and that's what happened. Yeah, and that's the way it goes.
Wes, I got a question for you. How much of it is the kit and how much of it is Chris?
I would say 70-30, 70 being Chris, 30 the kit. You put another player on Chris's kit, and it's not going to do the same thing.
Right.
But but that kit it holds a place in my heart, because that thing is something else. And I mean, sorry for anybody who's not a drum geek, but that Black Beauty, I've recorded, more Black Beauties than you can shake a drumstick at, but that Black Beauty is the only one that trumps all of them. It's ridiculous. I don't understand what the difference is. You get the same vintage Black Beauty. It doesn't sound the same like Chris's Black Beauty. I have no idea what it is. But I mean, Chris is the reason that I am a drum geek, because I am not a drummer. I mean, I can just about hold a straight 4/4, but I'm definitely not a drummer. But when I'm doing a session, I'll always gravitate towards the drummer and go, "Oh, what are you using there? What kind of sticks are you using? What are your cymbals? Are you using coated black dots or clear skins?" I'm that boring dude who just goes, "Oh, what are your drums?" It's all because of Chris, because he is my sort of benchmark. If Tom, I don't know what it is, Chris, about your kit, but your toms just, you rack them up and it just sounds great.
Yeah, but also I've been using the same kit.
It is the same kit.
It's the same kit. I've been using it for 40 years.
Yeah,
it's worn in. And when I got it, I took it completely to pieces. I can't remember who told me. I think maybe the guy I bought it off. He said, "Okay, it's a really lively Gretsch, and there's no damping in the lugs at all." I took the entire kit to pieces, took all the lugs off, right down to the shells, glass papered all the shells till they were completely smooth, put felts and oiled the felts, and put all the lugs back on, blah, blah. I would say that gave me about maybe 40% more volume. I know people have who have exactly the same vintage kit, a 78.
I was just going to say, compare it to Barry's kit.
Same kit. It's twice as loud. When we swapped kits in a session with John Klein, they had to move all the mics right back from my kit, from Barry's kit. The same thing. It's you customize it. I would never sell it in the first place, but it would be unsellable. It's so customized how that kit is. It's got different things just stuff I've plundered over the years and found in shops. So it's a very simple kit. I normally use the four drum kit, but sometimes a 10. Sometimes I've got a massive 18, which can just be the thump, So it is about playing the same thing. And I've met so many drummers over the years who the usual question is like, "How many kits have you got, dude?" Like this, right? And I just go, one like this, and that's it. And they're like, I'm like, "How many kits have you got?" And they go, 9. And I'm like, "How many do you use?" And it's costing them a fortune in storage. I mean, it's like, it's mad. Just have the one kit, specialize. That's it.
Yeah. Did you do anything else? Did you do anything to the edges? Did you cut the edges or?
Not really. Just really went with glass. Just really glass paper. Just the thinnest glass paper I could find, and really went at it and went at it, top and bottom, and really did that. And it seriously gave me a load more volume. It was like a much bigger sound. Yeah.
You just cleaned all the stuff off of it.
Yeah,
let it ring.
Absolutely. And but Gretsch still, a friend of mine supplied me with a Gretsch for a gig the other day. He said, "Hey, use my new Gretsch." Man, that was so lively. So lively. It's like Tame the Beast rather than trying to get character up. Do you know what I mean? You're just like, whoa, it is. They're fantastic drums. They're my favorite kits, Gretsch, obviously,
Yeah. Well, I'm in a British rock band. We're here in California, but we play all British rock songs. And our guitar player is from London, and he's our singer. So we do. You mentioned Ian Drury. We do "Wake Up, Make Love," and when you're watching bands like that, and you're in the wings, what kind of tips did you pick up from the veteran drummers that you were on the road with?
I think, I mean, a band I used to really love was Echo and the Bunnymen. And sadly, Pete DeFreitas is no longer with us. He died quite young. But that was a great band to watch. That was alternative British music, early 80s, where it really worked. There was something very special about that. But things like Ian Drury, I remember, watching them where they there wouldn't even be a counting. It was so slick. There would be a cue word from Ian Drury, who liked doing a lot of talk, a lot of the talk, a lot of patter in between numbers, and then there would be a cue word, and the band would just go bam, like in, no click, no nothing. It was slick as anything. And I was always after that kind of show. It's about doing a show. It's not just the usual stuff. It's make it your own and make it a show and be inventive with stuff, even endings and beginnings and stuff like that. That's where the fun comes, and that's where a real seasoned band who's played for, let's say, has been on the road for 3 months or something, you go and watch a band like that and you're just like, okay, you're really doing it. That's where it becomes amazing, and that's why I still like to tour.
Wow. Yeah. Well, having played with a band like the Thompson Twins, how much are you playing to anything that's tracked already?
Not when I was doing it. It was very much the early kind of drummers. We had percussionists just turn up and join in. Great, great Rasta percussionists used to just turn up. We used to have a sound system where there was a reggae dub system called the Mighty Observer from Brixton, and they used to plumb in these wardrobe speakers to RPA, and we do all that, and it would turn into a drum workout. Really, it was quite a market in terms of the early stuff compared to what they sort of became later on.
Oh yeah. So when you're part of the evolution of a band like that, because you played on their first 2 albums, right?
Yeah.
And you see them take a different kind of direction.
Sure.
Do you feel like that's a departure from your playing, or is there any like residual, like, oh, if I was still there, I would, you think about creative things you would do on those records? Not at all.
No, not at all.
You moved on.
I moved on. I moved straight, pretty much. I mean, I think we all got the boot in. We did a fantastic run of gigs, and we did Glastonbury in '82 in the afternoon, and then drove over to Stonehenge and did the second last gig in Stonehenge, where the whole thing was surrounded by cops, and we supported Hawkwind at midnight. Like, it was absolutely ridiculous, what we were doing. And then they decided with a new deal to Arista Records that they would go sort of more electro pop and basically make some money. But I was pretty quickly, that was basically, when was that? That would have been late summer. By the autumn, I was in Spear of Destiny and doing that album. And as I said before, that was the album where it kind of came together for me, and that got me a lot of work. It got me a lot of cold calls. It was an album called Grapes of Wrath, and I just had, I had people like sort of Nina Hagen from Germany just calling me up and saying, "Come and play in Berlin." It was those kind of sort of I'd kind of sort of hit something good by that time. So I was still up and running. I think the guitarists who got fired, they just went back to normal jobs because they were old. They were in their 30s. It depended whether you were kind of resilient, and which I was. I'm still doing it,
Yeah. And resilient and low overhead at your age.
Oh yeah, and stupid enough to do it, as well. So yeah.
Have you and Wes ever worked together in a live capacity?
With Wes?
You and Wes, yeah.
Yeah. What was it? What were they called? Gallows Ghost.
Well, I mean, we did. Well, Gallows Ghost, I was actually on stage with you.
Yeah.
But we did the Hugh Cornwall tour in the east. In the east.
In Lithuania.
Uh-huh.
In Lithuania, yes, yeah.
We did Snail.
Yeah.
With John Klein.
Yeah.
And Raie, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, we've been working a while now, really. 20 years? 20 years,
yeah.
I think. Probably, yeah.
Well, yeah, something like that.
It's got to be, yeah.
Okay. Hey, I got a question, Chris. How does a guy who fancies himself a pocket groove funk drummer end up in all these bands that are not that? I mean, not that there's not funk and groove in the Thompson Twins and that kind of thing, but why didn't you just get jobs in a bunch of bands that played the kind of music that you like to play?
To be honest with you, it would have been what came along. Really, it was like what who was looking for a drummer, various auditions. I mean, I got the Big Country gig. Literally, I think I was the last gig of about 16 of the highest tech drummers in London that they're doing, and I think I was the 6 o'clock spot in the evening, and they just given me 5 songs to learn, and I just nailed those 5 songs, and they just went, done, you got the job.
I'll answer that question. I'll answer that question for Pete, and that is because when Chris is playing, other players say I play better when Chris is playing. And that's
possibly
the thing that we love about pocket drummers is that they make everybody else look good. And sometimes just laying back in the cut is just what a band needs, no matter what kind of music they're playing, for everybody else to be cohesive.
You're the heartbeat.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree. Absolutely. And that's kind of the point. I think everyone's different. Everyone has their, you could be a builder and you could specialize in something and you're incredibly good at that. And you'll be employed for that. So it's kind of, it's the same thing. People would know what I do and therefore I would be employed for that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get a techie jazz gig ever, but I'm like Fred Armisen. I don't really like jazz in the first place. I want to hear the melody.
But then on the other hand, your hero is Gene Krupa.
Well, that's why I started playing. I saw it was called the Gene Krupa Story in the States. It was called Drum Crazy here, and I just looked at it. I was about 14 or 13 or 14, and I just went, yeah, that looks fun. I'm going to do that. That was it. And I asked my folks. I said, "Can I have a drum kit?" And they went, "No." And of course, yeah, of course. And my granny died, and in her will, she left me 300 quid. I just went out and got a kit.
Oh, thank you, Granny.
Thank you, Granny. Yeah.
Hey, Neil Felgate has a question. He said, by the way, he's pretty damn good drummer too. What is Chris's most memorable studio session? That's a great question.
Oh, there would be
second best sounding kit that Wes has ever recorded, by the way.
Okay.
Neil's kit is a lot bigger than Chris's.
There was a good one with Gene Loves Jezebel, where Gene Loves Jezebel had done they'd done a track called Desire, and that became a #1 dance hit in the States, which was, that's to do with radio play, not sales, but that gave it a huge profile, and they were on Geffen by that stage. And so Geffen gave it the green light, and we had Gary Gersh, who's the A&R man, who then, I think after the Jezebels, he left and went to Capitol and signed Nirvana. So he knew what he was doing. And so anyway, he put us in with Jimmy Iovine in Herb Albert's studio in LA, A&M.
A&M,
right? And Gary Gersh came to me and he said, you ready? Are you ready for this? Because Jimmy Iovine has this reputation of being super tough on drummers, like super tough and blah blah. And you know, do you need me to hire a rehearsal room so you can get your chops together or anything? I said, no, I'm good. I'm good on this, you know. And it was nice of Gary Gersh to say this and everything like that. And I went in, and there was all the setup and blah blah, and I nailed both the tracks. Day one, done, finished. And Jimmy Iovine came up to me and he went, "You're not bad for a white guy." Like this, and I said, "I'll take that as a huge compliment, Jimmy." And that's the only thing I ever fucking said to him, you know. But it was like, you know, he that I think was a really good one because I nailed it. I absolutely nailed it. Day one, done. You know, yeah.
Can I hire a rehearsal room so you can get your chops together?
Oh
Wow.
yeah. Oh yeah.
That was
Yeah.
awfully hospitable of him. But I like that
Well,
you just thought, no, I'm going to just get my 5-piece Gretsch kit and my deep ass pocket. We're going to sit in here and put these down.
Absolutely. But there would have been a session player lined up. You know, there would have been probably not Jim Keltner, but someone of the caliber. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would have been that. How old was I then? I think I was 26 or 27. Do you know what I mean? About that age. And I just went, no. To hell with that. I'm just going to nail it, and I did. So
nice.
I think that's probably the session where I just went, oh yeah, no, I got it. Yeah.
You were justified. Because I mean, if that's, you know, you're talking about having that kind of a budget where you got Jimmy Iovine, you're doing it at A&M. Jeff Porcaro's still alive.
Oh,
JR's plenty busy. Everybody, you're surrounded by guys who can sit in the chair and get it done. And instead, you just put it down.
Oh yeah, but I knew that Jimmy Iovine had that. I mean, he didn't like Stan Lynch.
Right, he made Stan Lynch quit the Heartbreakers.
I mean, who doesn't like Stan Lynch? Do you know what I mean? Who doesn't like that pocket? You know, and I mean, he was always trying to get Tom Petty to work with other people. It was sort of like, it was like, why? You know, but I had, that was a good moment. Definitely.
That's terrific.
It's like a game show almost. You've got mystery drummer behind, you know, door A. Yeah, it's Porcaro, and behind B.
You're
like, can I make it? But you made it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Through the gauntlet. Let's talk some more about your influences, because Gene Krupa, I can imagine him being an early inspiration, but clearly you've had influences that impacted your playing a little deeper. Who were they?
I think it really was the all those funk people. I mean, it was odd in terms of watching Top of the Pops when I was a kid. The two things that I liked the most was Alice Cooper and the Alice Cooper Band, right? That was dangerous. That was just dangerous. He got banned from TV here, you know, and I was like, oh, good. You know, I was maybe 14 or something. I was just like, wow, that's cool. And then the other thing that I loved was Casey and the Sunshine Band. But like, not predominantly that it was a black and white people working together, but there was something about that, and there was the fun and the joy in that music that I really, really like. And great kick drum work. What great kick drum work on that stuff. It's really cool. You know, other influences just would be. It was interesting. If I was to tell a 20-year-old now about the squat culture in London and in Britain in general in 1980, where huge parts of cities would be squats, and they were like a scene from the Aristocats. It would be like reggae dub in the basement, the Clash on the ground floor, XTC on the first floor, someone sneakily listening to Rumors on the second floor. You know what I mean? You know, you weren't allowed to do that. You couldn't not have Rumors in your record collection. You know, it was super uncool by that stage. And it was that kind of thing where you just thought, yeah, everyone's getting the same influences. And in fact, I still work with Kirk Brandon from Spear of Destiny and Theatre of Hate. I work for Theatre of Hate now. And he's like, why do we work well together? And I said, because we're from the same time. We were exposed to the same influences at the same time. The Clash would have been huge. Topper was exceptional as a drummer, absolutely exceptional, and it was the same. The bands getting together who had the same influences was a really big part of that alternative scene, post-punk alternative scene. It was finding the right people. London was about attitude. Things like the West Country, where I live now, was all about playing. I mean, I've got a great friend who's a bass player down there, and he said if you couldn't do the runs of John Entwistle on My Generation, the ding 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 like that, if you couldn't do that, you didn't get the gig. Like that, no one cared about that in London. No one cared. It was about how you looked, what type of person you were, what you know, that all those things. That was more important in London.
The intangibles.
Yeah.
That's terrific. I don't know the name of the percussionist for Casey and the Sunshine Band, but he's the one guy who's been in the band he was in the band for like 45 years. He was the one guy who endured. But yeah, those kind of things are, indelible in our minds. And I think you probably left untold drummers in the thousands with that same indelible mark, where just some song that you played was the one that they learned. Oh, you know what? I'm supposed to leave room, or I really have to make my bass drum solid, or I drop forward with my bass drum and I pull back with my snare drum, or whatever that little lesson was. Was there some little lesson like that you learned that was really special from a drummer in your influence past?
Yeah, don't overuse cymbals. I think a lot of the modern drummers, a lot of the modern drummers, it's all top kit and bright shiny cymbals, and it's all like this. There's a massive array of just noise going on. If you don't use cymbals, you're doing tom work and you're doing shuffles and like that. The front of house guy, Mr. Wes on front of house, he can ride all the overheads right up. He can even push the vocal mic. He can do that, and he will know the songs that I'm not going to even touch a cymbal on. If anything, I'm just keeping time on the left foot on the hat. That would be the only thing going. Like literally a lack of cymbals rather than use them. And then when you do use them, they become real stabs and punctuation points and everything like that. And then when you're doing maybe a sort of like a ride thing that's more complicated, again, it just sounds completely different to what you've been doing before. So you just mix it up. But I would say that's one thing that I've really learned, and what in terms of me now being sort of 60, it's like if I have drummers ask me about sort of why no cymbals, and I go, ask the front of house guy. It works. It works every time. It works. It's just a simple trick, but it works. It works.
Yeah. What do you have to say about that, Wes?
It's true. I mean, especially in smaller venues, like the typical sort of smelly, sticky floor London rock venue.
Yeah, they exist.
There's usually not even a pair of overhead mics, because those things are so fucking loud. Those faders won't even go up. So yeah, that makes total sense. Sense.
Yeah. How about if you're playing an outdoor barbecue joint? Because that's what I'm faced with this weekend.
I'd love to be doing that. I'd love to be doing that.
Well, outdoor barbecue joints. I think the weather forecast for you, John, is about 18 miles an hour wind. Your cymbals are going to flange like buggery.
Hey,
what is it? For the Eagles.
Where's the middle of Life in the Fast Lane, my favorite, the only track I like by the Eagles, because it sounds like ZZ Top, doesn't it? It just does.
Wow. Chris, what act have you not played for that you'd like to play for still?
Oh, good play. Some of the in terms of a female, I'd love to do some work with PJ Harvey.
Oh yeah,
she would be really, really interesting to work for. And in terms of a male singer, I think Ian Brand from the Stone Roses. I'd love to do like a solo. You know, his solo. I'm a big fan of his solo work as well. And yeah, it would be PJ Harvey and Ian Brand. Yeah.
Wow. And why him in particular?
I think I like his. I like the attitude, and I like the what he writes about. It's just mad stuff, and he's just got a turn of phrase which I really like. And yeah, I think he's got a lot more than people give him credit for. You know, yeah. And
PJ Harvey's a different kind of artist. Why her?
I just think she's got something that a lot of female singers don't have. For a start, she can work a desk. She can record an album all by herself if she wanted to. But she works with people. She's very interesting. She was very, I think earlier on, she was very unsure of herself, and then suddenly there was just a moment where it came together, and she was suddenly really confident and really powerful. And so I really like her for that. And yeah, she constantly, she has a few regular guys that she uses, and then there's just floating other people that she uses again. Yeah, that would definitely be my first choice. Yeah.
Can you relate to that turning point moment as a drummer, and when was it for you?
Oh, where it came together?
Yeah.
I think there are different things at different times. I think, I was never really a blues player, and I think more recently I've become a bit more of a blues player. More shuffles, more stuff. Listening to Little Feat and Richie Hayward, that's a really big thing for me. The live. There's been some brilliant live recordings, especially from Holland, where they were quite big before they were big in the States. Just radio shows where it's absolutely stunning what they do. I think probably you could say there's steps on the ladder as a drummer where you'll stay put for a while, and then you'll just go up something, and you just find something, and you just move up. It's just bit by bit. And I would subscribe to the Indian thing of, I love that Indian drumming thing where you're never a master until you're well into your 80s. Literally, you're 60, you're a novice still, with that stuff. And I think I still think of myself as a novice. Definitely. I think there's always more to go. There's always more to learn.
Wow.
And anyone who comes along and says I've done it, I don't believe them. There's more. There's more. Yeah.
There's always more. So if the shuffle is, I can relate to that because I love and appreciate the shuffle so much. Still, as a very confident working drummer, not convinced I play one any good. So yeah, I'm waiting on that revelation myself.
Yeah. It's just. I think it's listening to the right stuff. It's. There are. I do quite a bit of work for that. What you mentioned before, Chapel of Rock, which is sync music. It's through APM in Manhattan and stuff like that. And that's something where that kind of side of it has come along. It's kind of just because we're recording every couple of weeks. It's sort of you just get into in a normal time you're playing every couple of weeks, doing stuff. And I think that's a really good thing. I think it's just find ways to play. I've always had speculative bands like over the years. There was a fantastic band called Space Police that was with a jungle rapper called General Levy, and the other stuff. There was a dance thing called Cain with the brilliant name of Cain and Abel. Which was fantastic again with another rapper beatboxer and stuff like that. And I think it's important to do this and stretch yourself and do other stuff and just sort of and mix it all up, and you find other stuff. You just find stuff. You just like, I would have never thought of doing that if I hadn't been doing this gig. It's sort of, I think that's important.
That sounds like something Topper
Do
might
you
say.
think that
You need to do all these different genres and everything. I'm
Oh,
curious.
yeah.
I've been curious. I've been asking this question. How do we define what new wave is? Like, you've been in bands that are alternative music, new wave, that kind of thing. Thompson Twins. A lot of it's rock and roll, but it's not. How do you describe it?
The new, it was more, I think really how to describe it was the scene. The actual scene was as important as the actual bands and the music. The scene that was created. It was like there were certain clubs, there were certain things that happened where there would just be this sort of gathering of people who were all like-minded. And there was also, I think there's probably a really important sort of moment in New Wave, which was when people decided that they needed a dance hit. So, for instance, The Cure did The Forest, New Order did Blue Monday, and things like Simple Minds. They worked with Steve Hillage, and they did Love Song and The American. And it was sort of, and that was a moment, and obviously the Thompson Twins at the time did In the Name of Love, and that was the first big hit. So it was that became an important thing, that you had a dance hit. Yeah. And I think that put it into the clubs, and so therefore the scene kind of embraced it. Even bands like A Certain Ratio, who were the first band to play the Hacienda Club, they had a huge dance hit, absolutely huge, called Shack Up. So it was. I think that was a moment that happened, and that was probably 82. That was the time, was 82 when that happened.
Well, where do you see yourself headed now? Because music has changed a lot. There's the scene has changed. Of course, COVID drastically changed a lot, but things are coming back to, live playing and stuff. What do you envision yourself doing in the next few years?
Well, I'll certainly be doing Theatre of Hate with Kirk Brandon. I mean, I've known those people since '83, so it's like a big band of brothers, and it's a lot of fun going on the road. It still is a lot of fun going on the road, and hopefully we'll be able to get into Europe. We just don't know yet. That's the thing, which is we have no idea. I see myself just I'll carry on with that. I'll carry on with the sync music. It's actually a discipline that I quite like, because it's co-write, and it's idea brainstorming on a really fast level. We get tracks done for that in like 2 hours flat. I mean, mixed, finished, a lot. Yeah, it's a really fast process. I mean, yeah, we're not working usually with vocals. We're actually just using, it's just music. But it's very quick. I really enjoy that. There's obviously Raie. We'll see where Raie goes with the next album and everything. That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun doing that. I think there's going to be enough. I think there's going to be enough for people like me to do.
Yeah, I hope the sync music reaches its income potential too.
I think it does at bits and bobs. I just watched we got a track on a Netflix thing called Deadly Illusions at the moment, and the eye of illusions is a knife, and the picture is two women having a picnic, and I just went, oh, it's obviously the nanny did the murder, and I was absolutely right. But not only is she having an affair with the husband, she's having an affair with the wife as well. Hey, it's like, yeah. So that's the one we got at the moment out there.
All right.
So, yeah. So
that means playing is sexy.
Yeah. So I think it'll just march on in its own way. I mean, I do other stuff. It's I'm not that worried about it. I feel concerned for very young musicians at the moment, but my nephew is just about to do his first tour in Holland. So, he's a blues player, so he's off to Holland in September. So stuff is happening. It's okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, and the other part of that question is, of all the stuff that's happening, what is it that you want to do to carve, your spot, because you've done practically everything. You've, toured the world, you've recorded a ton. Which of those things do you want to sort of ease into to claim as your part of the territory, as you experience as part of your career where you're a veteran?
I think probably co-writes with writers. I think co-write, that's interesting. And you can also, I mean, I'll jot down. I mean, for instance, working with Theatre of Hate at the moment, the Kirk Brandon, he's got a sort of there's a new album. It's proper dystopian madness album, and sort of songs about I don't know, Night of the Demons and Jane Does and stuff like this. And I was watching Narcos on Netflix the other day, and I think the third episode is actually called "The Men of Always," which is Pablo Escobar's take on the government, because he wants to go into politics, but he's blocked. Obviously, the biggest drug dealer in the world isn't going to go into politics, but it's "The Men of Always." I immediately thought that's a Kirk lyric, like that, and I'll take that to Kirk, and we'll probably work up a song. So it's kind of it's those kind of ideas where it's a simple idea, and he'll either go for it or not. But I think those are the ingredients. That's all you need as an ingredient, is a little idea like that. Something you see on TV or something someone says in the street. I loved, there was an interview with Mark Knopfler where they went, how did you get to write Money for Nothing? And he said he was in a guitar shop, and a delivery guy walks in and just starts slagging off everything in the guitar shop. Well, this is just money for nothing. I bet you get a blister on your finger, like playing that one, and that one must sound Hawaiian, and blah, blah. And Knopfler's just literally on the desk of the guitar shop and just pens it. The song's written in 15 minutes flat. It's that kind of stuff. It's a great thing, and that's where good music comes from. Situational music, anyway. Yeah.
That's terrific. So it almost sounds like your playing it's just the language you speak, and you're seeking other forms of creativity on top of that. Just like the rest of us sort of want to do something and create something, but we all know how to talk. Your drumming is just a natural part of the way that you communicate, the way that we all just say things to each other. Is that fair to say?
I would say that's fair to say. And other producers than Wes and everything, they're just going, you just play what you want to play, don't you? And I'm like, yeah, but they're like, but it works, it works or it doesn't work. They can ask me to do something else. I'm fine with that. I'm not precious about it at all. But I mean, it's usually the stuff, how I see something will usually work in that format. It's yeah. But I wouldn't be the usual. I mean, a lot of people do the Brzezicki, the high end session guys probably do write roadmaps, because the client's playing a load of money. They can actually see the process. Do you know what I mean? With me, I just listen to a track once and then go, okay, let me at it. Let me at it, and I'll go for it. Do you know what I mean? And that's the way I work, So they might go, oh, he's done in half an hour, It's yeah. So it's I think different things for different people. I think that's it. Yeah.
Wes, will you tell us something about Chris's ability to say the right thing at just the right time? I mean, musically speaking.
Well, I've been thinking about this because I had a feeling this question might pop up, and I'm not sure if it was the right thing at the right time, but it definitely was for me. It was like we were at a gig deep down in Lithuania, and I was at front of house, and it was such a bizarre gig because the backstage was a strip club, and there are some pictures of Chris and I on the there are some pictures of Chris and I on the pole together.
Yeah.
But we went to do this gig, and there were not that many people there. It was freezing fucking cold out there. So, but serious song, really cool track. We got front guy doing his thing, bass player doing her thing, Chris is doing his thing, and in the middle of this, I'm at front of house, and in the middle of this song, Chris blasts this ridiculous drum fill, and I corpsed, and the bass player corpsed, and Chris was trying to keep it together because he was belly shaking with laughing, and the main artist had no idea what had happened, and we were all corpsing. And for me, that is it. I mean, putting the right thing at the right time, you know, when you're at a basically a shit gig, and Chris just nails the most comical drum fill on the planet.
Oh yeah,
and we had the best time that night, and we just corpsed.
It was a proper falling down the stairs fill, wasn't it? It was like over 2 bars long, you know. It was like, it was I think I just got bored and had a spaz out, you know. I mean,
You did, but at the same time, during a session, a serious session, you know, you'll be grooving along, and there'll be like one floor tom hit, which is just a goosebumps, you know, right time, or the classic Chris Bell snare fill, which is like da 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 da, and it's just on the money, right place, right time. That's it. Don't change it. Maybe you'll do another take that's better, but I'll go and steal that fill because it's awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anybody got any closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. Oh my God.
Closing thoughts. We have to tell you about John Klein.
Absolutely. I was waiting.
Wes wanted me to tell you about the Specimen Tour with John Klein, which was the craziest thing that I had ever done in my life. And when I was later on, when I was in Gene Loves Jezebel, people in LA asked me about it all the time, right? What happened? You know, it was quite extraordinary. And we were in Minneapolis, and we'd done a gig, I think at Prince's Club. You know, we'd done a gig there. And it was a weird hotel with a swimming pool in it, and they were all making fun of the goths, all dressed up and everything like this. And I think we did it. I can't remember. I think we did a runner from the hotel. We got to the airport. We got to the airport, and John, who'd been up for about 3 days, he was wandering around the airport off his head, going, "Buy me an airplane," because the airplane was late. Right, and you buy me an airplane now, like this, right? 2 cops come out, and they go, "Right, guy, ID," like this. John just drops his trousers and goes, "Here's my fucking ID," right? Right, like this, right, in the middle of the airport concourse, right? All goffed up. I mean, looking like something from, you know, like a zombie from Halloween, and he's it's like we just grab him and we just like manage to calm the cops down, you know. I mean, like, because we're just like, oh God, jail in Minneapolis, the entire band, you know. But it didn't happen. We got away with it. But John had that in him. He had that in him. I was kind of sort of more of the kind of logical guy. You know what I mean? It was like, John was out of control then. Yeah. But anyway. That's the parting shot. John Klein. Good luck to
Yeah.
We love him.
Yeah.
He mentioned how crazy it was on tour. And I think he even said a different tour was like the craziest of all time. So like, it sounds like for him, any tour was crazy.
No, that was the same tour.
It probably was. It was. We were out on the road in America for 6 months, and we did 15 gigs. The rest of the time we were partying and running Batcave clubs. It was insane. It was utterly insane. And I remember seeing the publicist like maybe 10 years later, and he was convinced that most people were dead from that tour. It was extraordinary. It was it exploded. It imploded. It only lasted about, you know, the band only lasted about 2 years. It was that out of control. But I remember when I was in the Jezebels, it really was talked about a lot by people in the industry. They were going, it was like 2 to 3 years ahead of what came. It was quite extraordinary. It was like a production of the Rocky Horror Show in the Midwest in '83, at the end of '83. It was quite extraordinary. Why someone didn't shoot us, I just don't know. You know, it was extraordinary. Yeah.